Namaste, one and all present here. We all have gathered today to witness Cubs in Conversation 2021, more popularly known as CIC. I extend my hearty welcome to our beloved Chairman, Sir, Dr. M. Srinivasan, Savvy Ma'am, Survey Sir, our Principal Ma'am, all our mentors, and the amazing Gear Cubs. There's a say, everyone has talent. What's rare is courage to follow it where it leads. We believe each one of you is unique and has different talents and abilities. CIC, which is the brainchild of our chairman, sir, aspires to showcase talents in as many students as possible. This year, to begin with, sir will interact with all the students of grade 12. And today we are going to witness its very first episode with 5 really talented Gear Cubs. And as I announce their names, I request them to switch on their cameras. So today's participants are Akshat Srivastav, Arusha Gombar, Divit R. Pai, Kirti Mahadevan, and Shivanjan Bhattacharya. I request each one of you to keep your cameras on throughout the session, and a few ground rules for the audience. I request the audience to kindly mute yourself during the session. Towards the end of the session, once we open for Q&A, all of you will be given a chance to interact and ask questions to our participants. And in order to do so, you need to raise your hand or type out your questions in the chat box, but that will be towards the end. So now, without wasting much time, I request our chairman, sir, to officially open the CIC 2021 and initiate its first episode. Over to you, sir.
Thanks, Sudeshna ma'am. And welcome to all the Cubs, particularly the 5 of you. And let's start with the first session. Actually, this is going to be a kind of an interaction where you also can ask questions. The whole aim in a nutshell is to ensure that you are able to look into yourself more. You need to make sure that you know yourself. That knowing is not that simple, okay? That comes out of asking a lot of questions, listening to a lot of discussions, and then absorbing what matters for you, okay? Now, to start with, you've gone through about 1.5 years of a very tough time. What do you think helped you to manage these 1.5 years in a way you have done so far? Anybody can go first. What is that helped you?
So for me, basically, this 1.5 years have been really difficult for me because, as I said, cricket is a very important part of my life, and because of COVID, like practices had stopped. So then I had to find other passions, which will drive me. So I started learning the guitar. So so basically, I was able to focus on different other aspects of my life rather than being a complete sports person. So which helped me shape me, which gave me more helped me look into other aspects of the life, just rather than just focusing on cricket and the entire world revolving around it.
Good. So you could easily, or you could manage to divert your practice sessions to guitar. Good. That's a good thing. Yeah. Next.
I think, Kirti, you can go ahead.
Oh, okay. So actually for this one, I have Gear to thank for, because when I first came into 11th grade, I made like a few friends, and they sort of made me try a few new things like cycling, a little bit of gaming, and also the academic exposure, which sort of made me dive into writing and literature. So actually I came up with a lot of new interests this year and last year. So that kept me quite occupied, and I was always up to something. Like every time I was bored, every time I felt sort of like longing to do something different, and apart from just staying at home, I had something to do because that's the kind of exposure I had. So that was great.
So I guess you're on mute.
Sir, I think you're muted.
So unmute, please.
Yeah, please go ahead, Arisha.
So I think like the other two, even for me, getting new hobbies was really important. So I learned how to cook and bake over the past few years, and I do that. I like try something new every week. So it's nice because it's a challenging task and it's also really rewarding when you have good food. So that was good. And also I think being home, I like going outside for inspiration. And for a long time I wasn't able to do that. And even when I would, there was like a limited space where I could go, like some places in my apartment only. So I think my family being at home really helped because they're kind of where I deflect my stress and they deflect their worries, and everything gets evened out and reduced because we talk about it and we share all our things. So even though I always stayed with my family, I think we got a lot closer over the past year, or the past 1 or 2 years, which has been really nice and helpful.
Great, great. So you found a way to engage yourself. Yeah, next.
Yeah, even for me, it was like I used to play sports a lot. I was always into football, going around here and there. But now because of COVID, I wasn't able to leave the place, so I had to find something else to do. So basically, like my mom taught me how to cook, so that was something that was fun. And then I also learned like photography and all. I like different hobbies came up, and now I'm interested in a lot of things, not just sports. And yeah, the same way Arusha also said, even I got really closer to my family being in the same house together for a really long time, and it felt nice. It kept me going. That I know that they're always there with me right now.
Great. Okay, okay. You became more a homely man. That's nice. Yes, Akshit.
Also, for me personally, I feel like I had parts
Go
and
ahead.
pieces of all of the other four. So even I was really into sports. I used to play football a lot, and so I in lockdown especially, and I never used to exercise as such, only football. But then once lockdown started, I started like focusing my own fitness, as in like endurance and all that. And even I like learned how to cook a little bit and help my mom on the house. Even I got very close to my family. We spent a lot of time together, and once the restrictions got a bit loosened up, we started going for trekkings and all that. So that was pretty fun. And I really started reading a lot of books in this lockdown because I wasn't really able to go outside. So I feel like that was a nice escape. And yeah, I enjoyed all that.
Yeah, Akshit, tell me something about the book you read.
Sir, as of now, I'm reading Sapiens. And before that, I'd read The Art of...
Very good.
Yes, sir. So, I mean,
You like
yeah, it's
it?
a pretty interesting book. Sorry, sir?
I just asked, do you like it?
Yes, it's very interesting so far. I mean, it's a really cool perspective into the history, and I mean, it's very factual also. So it's not just talking in thin air, and it's really nice to see how the current society has been formed from how it's developed and evolved.
Okay. See, I'll tell you why I asked you this question. A man is what he is or she is only at times of crisis. When everything is going good, you don't know who you are, who the others are. That's a kind of lubricant that makes the life go on. But when you have a crisis like the pandemic, you're at home, you have to change yourself so much, and you have to do new things, you have to forget your old things, and you have to make a lot of adjustments. Now, a man's strength lies in this. If you don't have the strength, you make it as an opportunity. Voluntarily, unconsciously, or consciously. If you did it consciously, your benefit is more. If you did it unconsciously, the benefit is a little less. So I want you all to introspect and see where you've really done the best. I am focusing on you digging into yourself more than anything else. If you know your strength and also your weakness, you are much more equipped than anybody else. Children of your age won't even think about these things. If you dig into yourself, if you know yourself well, you will know your signature strength. This is a word which has a lot of meaning. Signature strength, which means where you are really very comfortable, where you have more creative ideas, and where you enjoy yourself. That is your signature strength. If you are doing something even good, which you don't enjoy, your brain will not cooperate with you to do your best. If you are fully engaged, like a passion turning out to be a talent, you will be doing your best. So I want you to concentrate on two things: knowing yourself the best, and then trying to do things which will give you a chance to do something outstanding. It can be any area. For that matter, is there anybody who is extremely talented in any area who is not doing anything? Somebody is acting, somebody is doing agriculture, somebody is doing aviation. But if they're all doing only a job, that will be only a job. You have to find out, because your generation is different. Okay? So you need to have a kind of a strength which others possibly don't have. All right? Next, let's see. In these 1.5 years, I'm sure you made new friends, or you lost touch with your old friends. How much has it affected? Because for you guys, friendship is one of the most important things in life. For people who have crossed 40, friendship becomes dormant. They're all very close, but they don't need to meet, they don't need to talk to each other, and they also don't influence each other too much except giving company. But your age, you do a lot with your friends. What has been that scenario? Anybody made a set of new friends on the net? Yeah, anybody can go. Yes,
So
Hmm.
for me, it was interesting because I had a set of friends a long time ago, and then I had a set of friends who I was friends with before the pandemic started, and then I did not become friends with the latter group, but I'd lost touch with most of my old friends. But during the pandemic, I actually managed to reconnect with some of them, and we actually got really close. So I only have like 4 or 5 of those, but I think I spent a majority of my time with those friends. So they're not exactly new in that sense, but it feels good because we haven't spoken since maybe 7th or 8th grade, and now like over the past 2 years, we share a lot. We talk almost every week, and we're really up to date with each other's lives. So there's like a lot of continuity when we speak, which I think helps a lot. So I think that happened for me,
So you rediscovered some of your friends.
basically.
Yeah,
Essentially.
that's what is likely to happen. Anybody else?
So I did make a few new friends, and I also lost touch with a few friends. But surprisingly, the pandemic was not the reason for that, because I had like all my social media apps right there in my phone, and anytime I could just text or video call some of my friends, and somehow because my friends and I wanted to like not lose touch, because we did not want that to happen. We went like out of our way to sort of make conversations interactive, or if we couldn't go out and play, then we would play online games, or if we couldn't like anything, if we couldn't do something, we'd sort of find an innovative way to sort of do that online. So honestly, when it comes to friends, I didn't feel very like out of touch with them because of social media. And also I think a lot of games, a few board games and other things that are physical, all of them were converted sort of, I had an online platform as well, on like because of the pandemic, a few people made it online. So we used that, and so like I said, we just sort of went out of the way to find an innovative way to do things that we used to do offline online. So I didn't feel very left out. So that was, I kind of got lucky with that.
Good. Yes. See, all the 5 of you, anybody can just start talking. There is no need to wait. It is not a classroom where we have got 30 students. So don't worry. Go ahead. Who would like to go next?
Yeah, I think for me, like because of social media, I was able to keep in touch with my old friends and also make new friends because I joined Gear in 11th. So social media was really helpful. But still, the fact that we were not able to meet in person was still a bit saddening because online there are a lot of restrictions. So
You should say limitations rather than restrictions. Okay.
Uh,
Yeah,
so
next,
for me
Akshit
as
or Shivranjan. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Akshit.
well, I mean, like Arusha, I got closer to a few old friends, and I mean, it obviously like I lost touch with some of my friends that I had in 10th, but I did keep in touch with many of them. But what happened was I got tired of texting all the time. I mean, it just didn't feel natural, so I really wanted to like meet in person a lot. I mean, so once the restriction all they were like more relaxed, I did meet with a couple of friends, and the old friends that I was talking about, we started doing a lot of activities together because obviously for them as well, it was a really difficult period, and they also couldn't meet their school friends that much. So we got really close, and like we started doing a lot of activities together. So like we played football a bit, cycling around, and yeah, I feel everybody is just trying to grab someone in this time, and I don't know.
Yeah, great, great. Yeah, Shivranjan.
Yes, sir. So basically, for me, my friendship was basically like always mostly physical because of cricket and stuff. So me switching on to an online platform and trying to communicate with them was like really hard because like we never used to find like a shared topic to talk about to, and like we couldn't give time because everyone then started focusing on studies and because everything became online. So then like having a different like spending time because everyone had different time bases of classes and then different assignments, so it was like very hard to communicate. But then yes, when we found time, like we connected, we always used to like finding ways to like communicate, like watching movies together and online and stuff. So and yeah, like a lot of people said, I came to Gear 11, so I try to have a fresh start and make new friends. But then again, because of online, it feel like we got separated after a time. So then I reconnected with a few old friends, and then we got close.
So,
Good, good. So before I go,
I
yeah,
just
yes,
wanted to add one more
Harsha,
thing to what he said.
please.
I think a really big problem for at least people who were going to school over the past 2 years was the fact that when you're in school, like between classes, you have like those break periods where you have like games or libraries. So it's like you can do so much apart from school. But the second we were home, the only thing we could actually connect with our friends over was like classwork, which isn't something particularly interesting. Also, a lot of us ended up going for like some of the other kind of coaching, and over there it's even more rigorous, and you wouldn't get to meet the people you were sharing the journey with. So it was really difficult to connect with anyone, especially because it was online. So that was a really big issue.
See, one word I want you to remember, Arsha and others. Instead of feeling it is really difficult now, it is tough now, just see what best you can do, what different things you do. Because just because you think it is tough, life is unfair to me, it's not going to change. Only think of things which you can change, because that's in your hand. Blaming pandemic, blaming your neighbor, it's of no use. Okay, so keep that in mind. This is a great test. The test of life for now is great. I don't think any other generation will have this experience for another 100 years or so. But we should not keep quiet saying that great experience. We'll have to see what we benefited. Before we go to the next round, anybody would like to ask anything from any of your mentors, your friends, or me? We'll try to answer you. Is there anything?
So what did you do in the past 2 years?
I was gonna ask the same thing.
Okay. I think, like all of you, more or less, I started reading and writing more, which I did not find time otherwise. You know, I don't watch much of TV except a bit of news. Of course, I'm not a TV person at all, but I have been reading a lot of books, rereading books, writing down books, making ideas, thinking our plans. That's how I'm engaging myself. In fact, I started 3 programs because of the pandemic, all with a lot of planning. including this? Okay, that's a good question. What I want you to do is think about yourself. How have you changed yourself? See, the direction has changed. Now you think about your direction and see where this is a correct direction or you need to make corrections. Be conscious of what you're doing. Recollect. There's a very important statement that your experience is not wisdom. Your reflection on your experience creates wisdom in you. So reflect. Our ancient rishis and munis, they knew so many things. How? Only by meditating. Okay? So a lot of things can be done by designing things in you. Okay? So there's nothing wrong. There are a lot of things which you cannot believe people are able to do sitting in one place and controlling everything except the mind. Now, if you keep a diary, that will help you. Okay? You may go through small little things on a daily basis, but if you don't record it, you don't remember many things after some time. Maybe Sudeshna ma'am asked you a question in biology, or somebody else asked you a question in English, or you yourself came across something, and your reaction was, oh my God, or wow. Where do you record that? You need to write it down somewhere, and so that slowly you'll have a habit of recording your travel. That becomes an important material for a book to be written maybe in the next 20 years or even in the next year. It depends on your propensity, your inclination to what. Okay. Now comes to the next round. Regarding the studies, how have you changed your strategy because of this online classes? Have you changed your strategy or you have not? If you have changed, what have you been able to make out? And how do you think it has helped you? See, this conversation is not only for you and us. It is for all the people who are listening as a lesson for all of us. I want to learn from you so that I can help others. Okay? How have you redirected yourself in the last few
Yes, so for
Yeah,
me,
go ahead.
basically, in online classes, like there usually breaks between two classes. So then, during that break, it's like really easy to catch up on what you've been taught and then to finish all the assignments. So that helps you like brush up through what all the teachers have taught. Usually during offline classes, what happens is after one class, there's like another class, which like it's hard sometimes to catch up. You just lose focus sometimes. So what happens in online is like you have your own time to like brush up again and then look for videos, like even like compare notes with your friends during the class. So it's like more interactive. So that's where online has helped me in studies.
So mine is the complete opposite. So between the breaks in classes, I just take naps. So if it's a 15-minute break, I take a 15-minute nap or like a 12-minute nap. So I feel like that kind of refreshes me for the next class. So I just end up studying in the evening or in the afternoon. But what I did was, I think what's different this year or last year compared to previous years is that now I focus more on like what's actually important. So like I pay more attention to what's going to be asked, what's the way it could be asked. So I prepare in that way, so I'm usually good for exams and other things like that.
For me, I guess, well, there's the only new thing apart from like normal studying was that I used a lot of YouTube videos this year. I thought always like YouTube videos were the best sources for education, but like only for revision. Like when I knew the concepts already, I could like decide for myself whether something that I was seeing was important or relevant to me or not. So I guess that sort of made sense for revision. And I also use a lot of online flashcards. So that sort of helped me actually a lot, especially with the theory subjects. And every time I felt like it was getting very monotonous and, like my attention was sort of reducing and I just didn't feel like studying anymore, I'd call my friends and we'd sort of group study. And, surprisingly, like in my family, it's always a thing that group studying it never works. And like, you'd always be talking with your friends or like gossiping, you won't actually study. But surprisingly, it was quite the opposite. And we actually studied a lot. We made sure that the other was also studying, and if we saw one of us picking up phones, we'd be like, what are you doing? Put your phone down, go study. So I think that was really great. That also helped me stay quite grounded. So that was the only thing different from my usual study schedule.
Yeah, I think even for me, like the same way Arusha said, like I started focusing on the more important things, like what's gonna come. I started asking myself questions when I was studying. And I think during the pandemic also my focus has become better. Because like back then, all I would think about was like when would I go down to play? Like I didn't want to study at all. I was just waiting for the time to come. But like now I know that I won't be able to go anywhere, so I might as well just sit and study. So I think my focus has become really like good, right?
So I think one more thing was that because we're home all the time and because classes are online and most of the stuff I do for leisure, like watching something or reading something, is also on my computer. I changed the location of where I do what, so it's kind of like a demarcation in my head. So I study on my desk and I like do other stuff on like my bed or outside. So it's like when I'm on my desk with my computer, then I know that I should be studying. So that demarcation helps me be focused.
Yeah, I completely sort of agree with that.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, so you were on mute, so I didn't know you were saying something. But I sort of created this work environment for myself in my room because before everything was everywhere. Everything was quite disordered. Like there was no color pattern, there was no design pattern, nothing. But like in COVID, I think one of the main things that happened was I transformed my room to a very comfortable and work environment. And I have I put up a soft board, I put up schedules, I put up important notes. I have all my stationery sorted. I have everything on my desk. So it sort of motivates me in a way to study. I also have a few things, like a few motivational quotes on my pin board. So every time I feel like, oh, okay, should I take a break? And then, I sort of look at that and be like, okay, no, now it's not enough time for a break. Like you need to study a little bit more and things like that. So I think one of the most important things, honestly, is getting your work environment sorted, because if it's a bad work environment, it's not motivating you to study at all, you will not study. Like seriously, it's one of the most important things to get a really good work environment for yourself. And that can be anything, even if you want to, like, I have a poster of Money Heist beside me, and that's not even study related, but it just sort of it just screams me, my entire room. So I don't also feel like it's getting monotonous. I just feel lively all the time. So that's quite important actually for me.
So if I say you're more focused, more organized during this time, will it be correct?
Yeah, because I actually got the time to look at those kind of things, like organization and planning. Before with school, I didn't really think about things like that. It was like school, okay, come back and there's class, there's that, and then there's studying time, there's dinner, and then you can watch maybe something and then sleep. That's what every day went like. But I think this was like staying at home gave me a lot of time to think about things like this. Yeah.
Yeah, even for me,
for
because
me, like,
until
I'm sorry, you can go ahead.
Arshia, just hold on 1 second. Let Sivaranjan go ahead.
Sorry,
So, like, for me, like, Kirti said that you become more organized. But for me, what happened was, like, after a certain period of time, like, things got very monotonous. So, like, it got, like, you keep doing the same thing. It felt like every day is repeating itself. So, like, for me, slowly, like, the days passed, I had to, like, find new inspirations and stuff. Others, I got bored and I really lost focus. I just, like, thought, like, I'll just lay in the bed the entire day, attend online classes, and then I'm done for the day. And, like, even, like, before, when, like, it was offline, for me, it was, like, very interesting because I had to, like, plan everything because I had to balance my academics and my cricket. So for me, that was, like, very exciting part of my life. And because, like, both things are really hard. If you don't balance them, like, you won't be able to reach a goal for both of them. So for me, that was one thing. So in offline, like, what happened for me is, like, the same thing kept repeating itself. Like you said, you attend online classes, you finish your assignments, then look for your like other like studies and stuff, and then maybe go and like hit the gym. So it's just that everything happened the same day. Like there's nothing new for me. So that's one thing. When it gets monotonous, I kept losing focus, and then I just felt like not this again. So I just lost focus.
Okay. Yes, Akshit.
So I really relate with Shivanjan because it became very monotonous in the starting of 11th and 12th. I was very excited. I was like, okay, I'm saving a lot of time on transportation, so I have to utilize the extra time I'm getting. But after a few months, I found myself, I feel like my attention span really reduced during this period. And I'll be honest, I don't think academically it's been that great for me because I've not been able to like study that well. I find myself procrastinating a lot and I'm getting distracted quite a bit. So yeah, I'm going to make a work environment like Arush and Kirti have been saying. And other than that, I feel like every time like I get very sidetracked, my parents also see that something's going wrong. So I go to them. I'm like, okay, I like for the next few days, just I'm not going to be like, just don't disturb me that much. And I really try to like catch up and clear my backlog, and that helps sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, I mean, it's been a hassle trying to figure out the perfect method to study because everybody says that in online class you have a lot more time, so you sometimes feel guilty when you waste a lot of time. And I feel like, I don't know, that doesn't really bode well sometimes.
That's all acceptable.
So can I please add
Yes,
to that?
yes, Arusha.
The guilt thing is so true. Especially in the beginning, like all our teachers would be like, because you have like 3 more hours because you're not traveling and you don't have like those many free periods in between. You need to like study for 3 more hours. So in the beginning, I think everyone took that really seriously and tried their best. But I think it's very difficult to suddenly jump from whatever, how much effort you put into like 3 more hours worth of effort. And so I think for me, especially because everyone keeps overemphasizing on like or like emphasizing on the importance of like these times and how you have to work hard and stuff. Every time I feel like I'm even taking a break for too long, I start feeling like really guilty and really bad. So it actually took me a lot of time to come to terms with the fact that it's okay to take a break. Like it's not about being a workaholic and just working all the time. Especially because even though we saved a lot of time in terms of like not having travel and things, I think we lost a lot of time because many of us didn't focus on like the mental state of like our lives, and that did deteriorate for a lot of us. So like making up for that does take up more time. So I think it's just a payoff. It's not like we got anything extra. So I think it took me a long time to come to realize that.
Good, good. Now, let's get off a little from this pandemic business. Come to something which is more looking into yourself only. Tell me the most exciting day you had in your school or at home or anywhere else that you can remember. Need not be only in your 11th and 12th. Anytime, the most exciting day you remember. And tell us what excited you and how did that fade off. If you got excited because of some gift or something, would the gift give you the same excitement now? Or it will be more excitement? I don't know. Like you got the compass of Einstein, a small aeroplane, or some small toy for Wright brothers. There are so many incidents. Was there a day when you were highly excited? And what happened?
I'll have to think about this one actually, because there are quite a few exciting days actually, quite a few eventful
that's
days.
very nice, very nice.
So I think I can go first. Even for
Yeah.
me, there's a lot. So I think it would be a tie between any day I ever, like the first day when you reach a new location when you're traveling. So I think that's like filled with excitement because so much to explore and you've like heard about the place and different culture, different people, whether it's in India or abroad, it's like a completely different landscape. A
Tell
lot
us
of times.
one place which excited you the
I
most.
think for me in particular, London was really exciting because I'd always wanted to go, heard so much about it. And when I went there, I had really high expectations, and the city lived up to and exceeded them. So I think when you're traveling the first day, when you arrive at the airport and you're just getting a taxi, that's one of the most exciting parts because it's like you've so many things you could do and you're like planning and discussing. So I think in today's time that would be even more exciting because after being cooped up, like I've grown to appreciate traveling so much more.
Okay, London. All right, traveling.
Yeah, I think I'd talk about traveling as well because I mean our family travels a lot, and before the pandemic, and even I think during the pandemic, we went out like 4 times. I mean, of course, when there was no lockdown. So, but I think out of all of my traveling experiences, all of them are very memorable. But one of them that means the most to me is actually just like a road trip to Coorg. We went to Madikeri. I heard that gear actually, or I think it was Greenwood, but anyways, that doesn't matter. So I went to Coorg, and it was like a simple trip, but one of the things that stood out was that I did not get sunburned. So the thing is, I have a really bad allergy to the sun, and I didn't have it before. It was only it only started about 2 years ago. And the thing is, even the slightest exposure to sunlight would cause a burn on my face, and that would stay for weeks. And then I had to do like weeks and months of Ayurvedic therapy for that. And finally, that one trip, that was a lot of sun exposure. But the entire trip, I did not get sunburned, and that was the first time in 4 years that had happened. So I think that was one of the
Madikeri.
happiest moments for me.
Great,
Yeah.
great. Okay. Next.
So I guess for me it was
Yes, Shivanya.
like, yes, sir, for me it was like 3 years back when I got into the state probs of under 14. That was really exciting because I really worked hard for it, and then like once you like see the results coming of your hard work, it's like really exciting, and then you want to like keep doing more and more. So then you can achieve more. Yeah, so yeah, that was very exciting for me.
Okay. Hard work and the fruit of it. Okay. Next.
So I would mention traveling as well. I mean, like you said, or you were talking about a gift in your example, but like traveling now, if I got the chance to do it, I'd be much more excited compared to earlier, because I feel like once you lose the ability to do something, you value it more. And we can't travel right now, but I did go on 2 trips with my parents, and it was the same level of excitement when I went to say London or South Africa. So I mean, you really look at things with a different perspective. And I mean, I feel like we're pretty lucky that we have the ability to travel around. There are a lot of people that can't do that. So I feel like, I don't know, it just makes me appreciate it more. And one thing that I was really proud of in the pandemic was we started Python programming last year. And when my first like legit program worked, that was very happy because there was a lot of debugging in it. And I mean, just the idea of creating something that works, that was very nice. So yeah, that was exciting.
Great. Okay.
I think for me, one specific thing I remember was one of my football tournaments. And the thing that was different about it was that the dean of our school actually came with us. So like our school used to always go for football tournaments like very often, and we used to always get scolded by our teachers. Like we used to like neglect studies and just go for tournaments. And for some reason, this one felt different because our dean came with us. She's one of the most strict teachers. She's never used to let us go for tournaments and stuff. But this time, like having her come and watch us play, it was really different. I think it was pretty motivating knowing that she actually like supported us.
Great. See. So can we try and give the same excitement to somebody else is my question. See, we got excited by going to London or South Africa or getting selected for a team or something like that. Can we help somebody to get some excitement? It need not be a poor person. It need to be another person. If you do to a person disadvantaged, it's good that you have to go searching. But can you just by your presence, by your addition, by your support, can we make somebody else get excited and feel happy? Keep it in mind. All right? Because as the days progress, my guess is people are going to become more altruistic now. You know, when you are through a pandemic like this, you're likely to be more accommodative, more understanding, and you look at others as co-sufferers or co-travelers and be more helpful. I keep reading a lot. People are saying, we don't want anything, we want this. What is that? Peace, support, help. So you don't need to go all out and do only that. But you can think of, there may be some children who are not as fortunate as you are. And by even intending to do that, you become a different person. You know, you have to make sure you become a different person on a daily basis. That you do by knowing more. That is your classes. You learn more chemistry, more economics, more English. Fine. In addition to that, you think of just making your parents more happy. What you did not do all these days, suddenly do something. Like I'm extremely happy that some of you started helping your mother in the kitchen. There's a new talent you are trying to acquire. So like that, can you learn to do something new for the sake of others, not for the sake of you? This I has to dissolve into we. That's all. Every book keeps saying, but the situation now is that we need to be thankful and we need to do something new. Coming to the word thankful. You know, the greatest achievement in life can be possible only if you are grateful. Have you heard of this? Being grateful. I'm not saying being grateful to your teachers, your parents. No. In general, you should be grateful to anybody or anything for what you are getting or what you are having. You don't say, I have done it, I have achieved this, I become part of this cricket team, or I have become a writer. No. Can you say, I have become a writer with the help of all my classmates, with the help of my parents, with the help of my teachers? Was it an occasion to say a kind of thanks to all those people who helped you? Then what happens? You are a very peaceful person. That is needed. Otherwise, you'll keep thinking, oh, I have done it, I have done it, I have become great. No one becomes great by himself or herself. It's, remember, always because of others. Okay? Next, what we will do, you all said you read during this time. You read books, you read something else. Is there a new perception that worked on you or not? Was there a new way of understanding what you read? Even if you read the same thing again, even rereading can give you a new perception. Did something
So
happen
can
like
I
that to
talk
you?
about a specific book which was like really eye-opening for me?
Yeah, please.
So I think over the past 2
Hmm.
years, I'm sure everyone's aware there've been a lot of like conspiracies come to the rise. So there's like anti-vaxxing and then flat earth theory and a lot of things like that. So I read this book called Mistakes Were Made But Not By Me, which is essentially about cognitive dissonance. So they kind of explained how there's like how people experience dissonance in different fields, be it science, be it therapy, be it politics, whatever. So they kind of explained how people come to the conclusion that something as bizarre as how like maybe vaccines cause autism or something like that is actually real, and why they behave so like aggressively for that particular belief. So I think that book really helped me like understand their perspective. So while I don't necessarily sympathize, I do understand. So I think when people go around like berating other people for having bizarre beliefs, it actually strengthens their beliefs. So I think having an understanding of how they think, why they think that way, why all of us come to conclusions which are dissonant with facts. Understanding that can help us address them better and actually reduce the dissonance.
Great. Yes. Yeah.
I'll be honest, I don't really like I read a bit, but they were all like storybooks. They were all had like an entertaining storyline.
Even if it is storybooks, you derive a lot of value in it. You learn a lot. You don't read anything for nothing. You may say, I'm just enjoying it, but that is working on your mind. Okay?
Yeah.
Did you come across anything very important which you wanted to share with others in the story?
Yeah, okay, yeah. I guess one of the things was that there was this particular character in one of the books that like in the end of the book, she sort of stated that every time I'm complaining about something or I have a complaint about anything in my life, I think about those who have it worse than me and automatically sort of feel grateful about what I have. And that was just one or two lines in the end. And it was actually a book about grief in general, about people person who had lost someone dear to them. So so she just put up this line at the end. And I mean, now that I think about it, that's one of the lines that I remember when you asked me the question. That's what I remember. So yeah.
Quite a few books that I've read, the last paragraph or the last line will be the crux of that book. I'll talk a book that I read during my college days. George Orwell. Any of you have read?
Which one, sir?
1984. 1984.
Yeah. I read the book Farewell to Arms. And also, there is a book where, I don't remember which book is this. The last line is, all are equal, but some are more equal. Which is the book where the pigs take over the government and they run. Any of this is sentence.
Animal Farm.
Animal Farm, correct. Animal Farm. See, the last line is the book. So when you read, you don't only enjoy the story. You keep thinking about how the author managed this, what it means, and it gives different meaning at different times. And this one sentence, though I forgot the name of the book or title of the book, I could not forget the sentence. And that is demonstrated in that book. So when you read a book, it is useful as much as you absorb out of it. Otherwise, it's of no use. Okay? Yeah.
So even in 1984 by George Orwell, like the entire story has a completely different twist on either the last page or like the last few lines. So you're like, you have something, you have an expectation, and he completely destroys you in like the last few lines. So,
the last few lines. George Orwell was good at that. 1894, isn't it?
No, sir, it's 1984.
1984. Okay, he was talking of the future. Okay. Yes. Anybody else? Feel free. Even if you want to say about something else, you should not hesitate. This is for a free talk. It is not, I'm trying to test you or I'm going to give you grades. We want to know each other, and more I want to know from you what we can do for children more. That's the next question, but let me complete the remaining three.
So I would. Okay. So I wouldn't attribute any new perspective to a single book, because I feel like a few TV shows and movies have also played part, but I had a different perspective like during this pandemic, like in every social interaction, usually you try to read the person and you try to understand why they're doing. But what I realized was, I mean, each and every single one of us in essence, we're just biological, why we say and do the things we do. And once you understand that everything is basically chemical induced actions, I mean, a lot of things that people say and do, it doesn't affect you the same way, because I mean, I feel it boils down, I don't know why, but I started looking at free will as well. Does free will really exist? And I mean, that's a huge debate in itself, but just the fact that, I mean, I would give you an example. Say someone said something hurtful or did something to you, but then you try to break it down and understand why they did that. I feel like that's a really cool way to look at it, because then it doesn't affect you as much. You understand the person a bit more. And I feel like, yeah, that's what I was really delving into, like psychology and all that.
Good. Yes, Evangeline.
So like Akshit said, I'm not a very book person, but then like I usually watched a lot of movies and like TV shows in the pandemic. And like once you understand like the actual meaning of the things they're doing in the story, like I completely agree with what Akshit said. It's like it becomes more interesting. It gives you like a different perspective of what the story is about. Like you can think about a lot of ways what is going to happen, what is not going to happen, thinking about the psychology of the person in the character, like the character psychology. And then like it becomes like a bit more interesting, because you can like think of a lot of various outcomes of the movie, like if thinking about if they did this, what would have happened, if they did that, what would have happened. So that's a like very interesting fact about like understanding the like psychology of this character.
Okay. When we say you see more of videos or films, I understand, because human beings, we perceive more through our eyes. That has been the evolution, not anything else. And your brain contributes a maximum space to your sight, to process the sight. So you have better understanding, better memory. And also, there are people who are only visual. They see, they understand and remember. They read, they don't make much meaning. And the reverse also is there. There are people who like to sit and read quietly, not tamasha on the TV. So all kinds of people are there. There's nothing wrong with anybody. Okay. Divik, would you like to go?
Yeah, like for me, even I'm not a really like a big book person. I don't read books a lot, but maybe I can relate to like reading conspiracy theories online. So I just like learned how different people think, like their different mindsets and like why they're thinking that way. And sometimes even I like delve deep into it, and maybe I also feel the same way as them. And like I think like why are they thinking this way? Can it actually be true? And like just different ways.
See, I want you to pay attention to this kind of journalism. There are people who are writing that this COVID-19 is a bacteria. The world is working on it being a virus. Now, you may not become a doctor, but it is good to learn what is the difference between a bacteria and a virus. You can do that. It's an opportunity. And you also can learn how they put it convincingly. The same way, there are people even today trying to convince you that Neil Armstrong did not land on the moon. There are so many video clips, there are essays, there are people trying to say it's a fraud. So let's not worry about it being a fraud or not, but how do they manage to put it across to you as if it is true? What they are saying is true, what you hear otherwise is not true. So learn those techniques. Don't only read and get information, go a little deeper. Okay? Now, I have two more questions, not questions actually. One is suggestions from you, and another is I want to know how you managed to get out of one of your most difficult situations. You could have been in one of the most difficult situations and you'd have got out. What helped you to get out? What was going through in your mind? If you don't reflect on that, you won't be better prepared to face one in the future. There is no guarantee that you will not face a bitter one in the future. Nobody guarantees that nothing difficult will happen in life. It will. How you manage it is life, not you face it or you don't face it. And the best preparation is rehearsal. You've already gone through, see how you got out of it, what came handy, who helped you, who did not help you, you expected help from that person, or what happened, what preparation in you helped. So there are so many things in that. And the other one is, kindly feel free to suggest what can we do as a program, as something to be of more use to children who study at GEAR. Specific suggestions, because you have gone through, we have organized. So your experience is not the same as ours. If we listen to you, maybe we will know something which we don't get to know otherwise. Okay, that's what I'm looking forward to. You can do either this or that, but do one. The second round, you can do the other. Yeah.
So I think it's a slightly specific suggestion, like you said, but I think one thing which could help a lot is in the 9th and 10th grades, there should be like hands-on exposure to the stuff that you're going to study in 11th or 12th grade, because a lot of times most of us make the decision based on what others have said. And I know personally I chose the wrong thing and I switched out of it last year. But if I'd like known before what I was getting myself into, people told me about everything that could concern me or my parents, like, okay, what can I do with this subject? My parents are probably concerned about whether I'll get a job or something like that. So if there's something that can kind of demystify that, people will be more informed, because even though 11th offers a lot of choices, most of us don't actually know what those choices entail. So I think that could be something helpful.
Arsha, are you talking about only the choice or a little about the subjects?
No, I meant like the different subjects. Like for instance, in commerce, there's like accounts and stuff. That sounds like something I would understand, but I have no idea what they actually do. So the same way, like psychology, people may not know. So I think that would be helpful.
So what you're saying is give a brief on each subject.
Yeah, like maybe kids can like maybe sit in like one class or something just to know what goes on, what they
sit in the
actually
class.
study.
Yeah,
because
sitting in the class, they won't make out anything because they wouldn't know the head and the tail, and they won't understand the body.
That's true, but maybe like the first class could be taken for that grade, because I think if you just know about a subject, you still don't know what you're actually going to be studying.
Okay. We will just see what we can do so that in your 9th and 10th, you'll know what is being dealt with in 11th and 12th. Okay.
Yeah, you'll be able to make a more informed choice, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah,
Just to add on to what Arusha said. So, I mean, I think last year, like in 11th grade, we had a Lodestar session. And I remember that being quite helpful for me. And it wasn't just about my career, it was also sort of confirming my choice, like the choice of choosing commerce. So I think that session, it would really help if it was in 10th grade, because that would sort of maybe help people choose whether they want to take science, commerce, or arts, humanities. So I think that session that we did in 11th grade, that would really help the 10th graders instead. I mean, we could do for 11th as well, but I think that session, I mean, I don't know if you already do that. I don't know if you're already done that.
Lodestar doesn't tell you what would be the content. What Arusha means is, let's not beat up the content of the syllabus of 11th and 12th so that we'll have a better choice.
Yeah.
Lodestar, we thought about a lot and we brought in Lodestar because we were not able to do all by ourselves. So we need to have professionals who are dealing with it. I would rather say specialists rather than professionals.
So I was in Lodestar in 10th, and my counselor helped me a lot with finding paths in my field, which didn't really tell me what was there in the other
Okay, I
field.
got your point, Arsha.
So
I
yeah,
got your point.
basically.
Yes. Yeah.
So I guess like one thing you could do is like Arusha told, like offering like a bit like brief about the subjects and what they offer, because like for me, my parents, like it's been a myth, not for only for me, my parents, they think that science is everything. Like if you take science, then you have scope, and if you're a humanities student, you don't have scope. But they don't understand that if you have humanities as well, you can like there's like a lot of scope now. You can like go into a lot of different paths. So for me, even I didn't know, like for me, I joined humanities basically because of design. I wanted to become a illustrator and a graphic designer, but then I didn't know the other option. Like I didn't have a plan B. So if I knew from back before, like in 10th, like what are the things, subjects if I take, what are the career options I can have, and what they actually like help me into do. Like now that I'm researching, now that I'm understanding stuff. But if I have done my research like back in 9th and 10th grade, it would have been more helpful, because like I could even explain to my parents that science is not only the way. Like if you take humanities, I have this subject which will help me in my future. This will help me in my future. So that's basically what I wanted to like. It would be nice if you like if you're offered it in 9th and 10th.
Okay, yeah, but point taken. I am able to understand that. We'll do something definitely. Yes.
Maybe just to sort of clarify my previous point and also add on to it, I was thinking maybe if the counseling team of CURE could maybe make like a personality test to give to the 10th graders that sort of tells them their areas. I mean, of course, they'd answer the personality
That's
test.
what the loads are supposed to do, no? And they do that.
Yeah.
They come out with an idea of what you would be doing and how you'd be doing.
Yeah,
We
but
will see that.
I was under the impression that Lodestar, it was like a paid counseling service. So
It is
I mean, I
paid
was
counsel service, but they are doing their surveys to understand you, to help you to understand yourself better. That's what is important. The decision you take, but an informed decision is what we need. Yes, Divit or Akshat?
I think I just agree with.
Also, I feel like I think it's been done before in school, but I'm not very sure. I feel like the best way to give the kids an opportunity to see what future might be like is to bring someone from that field to school and let them speak about it. So, like, say if someone's interested in psychology, or you have enough people who are interested in it, you could call an actual psychologist, and they could have a one-on-one meeting.
See, either we bring a psychologist who would interact with everybody, or we bring a psychologist and let
So one more thing I
interact
feel
with the
like
people who are
you could
interested
do
in
is,
psychology.
I feel this
Both the
is
ways we have
I
problems.
feel like school should.
Anyway, we'll see what best we can do. What you say, there's a lot of point. We need to meet people of the profession.
So I think my internet broke out, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, Sunny, I'm not able to read. Can you speak out what you're saying?
So I think Sudeshna ma'am also can elaborate more about it because she's part of the Lodestar program. But I was just clarifying those aspects.
Yes, sir. Survey sir has written that all students of grade 8 to 10 are part of Lodestar. Only 11 graders who joined us. I mean, this year, last year, are given option of paid Lodestar session, as it would not be needed for everybody, because other children who were part of our school, earlier, they already have gone through this session. Yeah, so as Kirti suggested, you're already doing it. I mean, grade 8 to 10, they are all part of Lodestar, and they actually go through personality test, and so that they can explore themselves, they can introspect, they can reflect that which area is strong and what are their interests.
Yes, Sudeshna ma'am, keep it in mind. Let's find out a way by which we would be able to brief all the 9th and 10th graders the subject available and what it deals with. We'll make a brief.
Yeah.
Design thinking. They don't know what is design thinking. So it is not design thinking. The subject is design and
design. It is design now,
design.
sir.
Okay, design only.
Yes, sir.
So before it was design and innovation, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So what is design? If they know a bit, maybe it will be helpful to them. That's what they are talking about.
Yeah.
Yes. We will do this for the next gen group. Yes, Vivek.
No, I just agree with all of them on this. Just letting the students know what the subject is about before they have to make their choice, because their choice basically is the whole future after that.
Oh, great. Now, you see, we have not done much, but the time is 9:06. The time flies. Quickly, I want to know the other part which none of you took up. The most difficult situation, how you got out. 1 minute each. Because that's something very, very useful for others.
Okay, I think I have something to talk about. I think I've mentioned this before in one of the classes, this concept. But so basically, when I just like when the pandemic had just started, right after the 10th grade boards, it was quite a depressing phase of my life because of course I wasn't going out, I wasn't meeting people, and that was supposed to be like the summer of my life. You know, I was supposed to go travel alone to Italy with my mom, and we had a lot of plans. And I knew that 11th and 12th had a lot of academic workload for me, so this was going to be like my last summer vacation of school, like 2 months of empty vacation to just do whatever I wanted to without having to prep for the next coming years and all that. So now that was gone, and I was supposed to be at home the entire time. I read, it was pretty sad, like the entire phase. But like online, I was just reading. I read a lot of blogs, and I think one of the main things that have helped me and kind of shaped me into a person are blogs, because personal blogs and not just like factual ones. And in one of them, I read about this concept called the Betari box. And I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this before somewhere, but I forgot where. And it's basically a concept where you feel like you're stuck in a box, and all the sides of the box are filled with negative cycles, and you feel like there's no way out. But the only key to coming out of that box is bringing a change within yourself. That's the only way out of the Betari box. And that really hit me, and that was like, wow, okay, I've never thought of it that way. Maybe I'm the one who needs to change, because a lot of people, I don't like when it comes from someone else. When someone else tells you need to change, you need to become better, you don't take it that well. You don't take it as constructive criticism, especially at a young age. Maybe when you're older and you're more mature to understand that, you take it as constructive criticism. But in 9th and 10th grade, I don't think most people would take it like that, and they would take it as something offensive, So I think for those kind of people, if you read blogs, it's actually great because you're sort of teaching yourself and you're learning by yourself. It's not someone like demanding you to do this, demanding you to do that. So, but anyways, the Betari box is like I said, the only way out of the negative cycles is to make a change within yourself. And that's kind of what I did. That was the day I decided, I need to have an open mind to things and to people, and be more tolerant of people, and also be more grateful. It was at that point that I decided that I don't want to complain anymore, and I don't want to complain about the pandemic. And there's so many resources around me. I live in a penthouse. I have like so much space, and still I'm complaining about being in this house. I mean, that seemed very unfair, and that seemed very wrong of me to say as well, for me to complain. So that sort of, when that hit me, that's when I sort of started working to make this entire pandemic experience better for me. And since that day, it's only gone upwards. It's only been a positive experience. I've only looked at even though there's always a negative side to things, I just chose to completely ignore that and look at the positive side. And that sort of also helped me stay grounded. And great. I guess that concept is very important, and that's what I use.
The only thing is, when you guys come across something like that, you need to share that with others. Everybody may not be reading everything. You share it with others. Where they take it seriously or not is left to them. Okay, we'll try to do something where children can post things useful to the others. Okay? Yeah, we're running short of time.
So when I was in the entirety, like half of 2017 to 18, like an entire year, my grandma was battling with a lot of like terminal diseases, and she was already paralyzed before. So her situation devolved until she was just like a person who was kind of like this mask, who wouldn't talk, who wouldn't do anything. We had to do everything for her, and it was really difficult to see someone who was like a full human become like this like statue kind of person who wouldn't talk, who didn't do anything, who probably just stayed in their thoughts the entire time. They didn't even look the same anymore. So for my family and I, it was really difficult because she had lived with us our entire life, and like we had to see her go through this, and my parents had to take on so much because she had so many hospital visits and things like that. So I think a lot of like the way we got out of that was like we kind of like started acknowledging all the good things that had happened to her, all the good things we had done with her, so like all our good memories and things, and we kind of came to the conclusion that like when she goes, she should go happy. So like we tried to have like a really good last year, and like that's how we coped with the fact that when she finally like passed away, we felt like we had like experienced her entire life all over, because in the last year we relived all those memories and thought about good things and things like that.
That's again a great occasion. When we lose somebody, we realize the value.
And going through that entire 1 year was also
we relive the life in our mind. Our experiences become different in meaning. Okay. Yes.
So for me, there was a time like during 10th grade where it was really hard for me to manage my academics and my cricket, and like I was failing in both of them. Like I was not able to manage. So like it was very depressing for me because I was not like, no matter how hard I worked, both of the places, it always seemed like I'm lacking in the other place. So then my dad really helped me. My father was like a very important part of my life, like helped me in my cricket and stuff. So basically, he told me to take one step at a time, and he gave me few quotes which like really stuck with me. He told that starve your distractions and feed your focus, which really stuck with me. And like this is one quote that always helps me whenever like I'm getting distracted. I like keep thinking like what are the things that I have to focus on which will help me in the future. And there's one more thing which helped me was like taking one thing at a time. So if I'm studying, I'm only studying. I'm not thinking about anything. So I'm completely focused there. And if I'm playing cricket, I'm like, I forget about the rest of the world. Like, even if something's like happening right, very important next to me, I have to focus on the next ball which is coming to me. So that's one thing which really helped me, like taking one thing at a time and like distracting all your like moving away from all the distractions and like just focusing on one thing.
Good. That's a good lesson. Yes.
Also, specifically regarding to your question on how to overcome a problem, I feel like a lot of times we make the problem bigger than it is by overcomplicating it. So what I've found is I like breaking it into small pieces and I look at it into an objective manner. So what I do is I write down the whole thing and I break it down to the most fundamental blocks. And then sometimes I use process of elimination to like remove all the stuff that I'm unnecessarily thinking about. I think you also mentioned it.
Yeah, see, the moment you understand your problem, you have solved it half at least.
Don't think about the stuff you can't control or you have no power over.
Yeah.
So only look at what you can do.
Keep looking at the problem as a problem.
I find that simplifying and breaking it down really helps me. And one takeaway from Shivanjan.
You go ahead.
Sorry, speaking. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so that's what I was talking about. Like, when you can make a problem simple, it's much easier to wrap your head around it, and you can find a solution. And like Shivanjan said, like staying in the moment and being very present, that also helps a lot. So, I mean, I've found that because we usually obfuscate a lot of things, and this helps to eliminate that.
Yeah, like Akshit says, any big problem, break it into components and pieces. You'd be able to deal with some of them, postpone some of them, ignore some of them, attack some of them. You would have solved the problem. If you look at the problem only as one problem, even a simple problem, your car doesn't start. You keep thinking, my car doesn't start. I tell you, 2 or 3 days before, my car didn't start. I don't know what happened. I just was calling some mechanic. After a few minutes, it started. Something went wrong, and for a few minutes, it won't start. It's an automatic car, so if you give a few minutes time, it comes back to life. So like that, sometimes even giving time helps you. All right? Yeah. Divik.
So I had a thing similar to Shivanjan, which is balancing sports and studies. So the way there was till 8th and 9th, I was able to balance it fine. But the mindset that I had in 10th grade was, okay, this is my last year. After this, I'll be focusing only on studies. So let me go play more. So I would play more. But while going to play, I would think about boards. And then while staying at home and trying to study, I would think about sports. So that didn't work out. So I think this basically, like with the help of my peers and my parents and stuff, I was able to realize that there's a certain time to focus on stuff. Like now, it's your board year. So like give importance to sports. Like sports is like important. It refreshes your mind. It gives you a break from like all the studying that you're doing. But also know that board really matters. Like the marks matter. It's going to be reflected in your future jobs also. So focus on that too. So I just worked it out in the last year, like with my help of my friends and parents and stuff.
It's all realization. You realize, okay, I should do only sports. I do only studies. So if once you do that, you'll be able to take care of that. Okay. Now, any question from any audience? I just need to take one call.
If anyone wants to ask any question to the participants, can raise your hand or type out your questions. Preeti ma'am wants to ask. Preeti ma'am, please go ahead.
Namaste, sir. It's not a question. Kirti informed us day before yesterday that she just recently she wrote a book and her book got published. So I would like if Kirti would like to talk about her book.
Congrats.
Thank you. But talk about. Okay, fine. So I've been working on writing this book. I mean, it's a collection of short stories, so it's not exactly one story that I've been working on. There are about 7 stories, and while all of them are original, but one of them it was actually the product of the tandem essay activity that I did in 11th grade. So one of the seniors, Srishti Bhandari, both of us sort of wrote that story together. So I chose to publish that as well. It's there in the book, actually. I've given her credits for it. And that's one of the stories. And I think that just it's not just 6 months, actually. 6 months, I was like focusing on the book, but in the making, it was actually going on for like a year because of the whole tandem essay thing as well. A few stories came out of that. But actually, the tandem essay thing sort of really started the whole writing venture. That's when I realized that I could to an extent write. So and I also I'm creative in a different way, not in like an drawing art sort of way. I'm really bad at drawing, but in another way, like I'm imaginative. I create up a lot of scenarios in my head a lot of the times. Every time I'm in a conversation with adults all around me, when I was a kid especially, I'd think about all sorts of things. I'd think about myself in Disneyland. I'd think about myself in an island. And, there's actually a story in my book about that. It's called, I think, Utopia. It's about my very own imagination. So, like what's going on in my head. So, just that imagination I had to put down into words, and that's all writing is for me, honestly. And then there's a few grammatical things that I have to look for, and dialogue making and things like that I have to like look forward to. But that's kind of it, that's all writing is to me, putting my imagination into words. And I was I was working on those 7 stories for almost a year. Then I got a book contract with a publication house called The Right Order, and we were editing and formatting the book for about 2 months. Actually, that was quite a bit of time, but the thing is, I had a lot on my plate, so I couldn't completely focus on the book. I was also doing like a business course and something else. So honestly, there's a lot on my plate. It doesn't usually take that long, but yeah, it took me 2 months to sort of finish the entire thing. And I guess now it's finally out. My cousin received the book before I did. I haven't seen it yet. It's coming today.
Good. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations. See, writing a book is different. Getting it published is different. It's so tough. Yeah. You've learned.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a person, one of my counselors, he just asked me, like, you write, okay, so why don't you publish a book? And that seemed very bizarre to me at first. I was like, I can't just be an author. I'm not an author. I never aspired to be an author. My hobbies were singing, badminton, and things like that. Even a new one like gaming and other things. But writing was never really. Me being an author was just never a thing, in my life. But then I asked myself, you know what? I have a few stories. Why not? That's honestly the question was just why not? Because yeah, just why not? So I went ahead and did it.
Good. Preeti ma'am, you got your answer? Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Good. Anybody else? Or you want to ask any question to the audience? Okay. So I think the Maiden CIC, I've learned a lot. Definitely, it's a very productive session we had. And only like this, we are going to learn more about ourselves, our work, and what we can do more for children and things like that.
Thanks for the opportunity, sir.
I should thank all of you for having taken time out of your studies and talking to us. It's a great lesson for us. We'll keep it going. Okay, we'll see something new in the next round. Thanks a lot. All the best. You're all great kids. Keep it going.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. And all the wonderful participants. I mean, it was such a productive and enriching session, and I'm sure all of us are taking away some really meaningful learning with us today.